However, is there a justification for mob action? Absolutely not. You never can stand anywhere to justify that and make sense, even if you were to.
So my own question is, how did we get to the point as a society where police custodies or security personnel cannot even be trusted, because the safest place a suspect can be is in the police custody.
Trust me, constitutionally, even the thief has the right to legal representation. So if that were to be the case, what becomes of you who seeks actual justice?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Based on My Opinion podcast. I am your host, Kemi, and today we're having a conversation about jungle justice, a painful reality where anger has replaced justice. And when the justice system fails, how does it give us the right to become the judge or the executioner? Hello, Mr. Gilbert Joseph. I have him with me again in the studio on this episode to tackle, construct all of my questions and the questions the audience have. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you doing today?
It's a real pleasure to be with you again, Kemi.
Thank you. The conversation we're having today, I'm not even supposed to be smiling because it's a very, very serious matter. With the high rise of jungle justice or just a mob doing horrendous things like taking law into their hand, when you hear the word jungle justice or the phrase jungle justice, what's the image or what's the meaning or what's the story that comes to mind?
Well, it's animalistic behavior, a situation where there is no law and just about anything, or everyone is at liberty to perpetrate evil, heinous act. There is no better word or terminology to describe that. And so that is the coinage, or where the term jungle justice is coined from, as the name implies, really.
With the high rise of poverty, frustration, lack, hardship, do you feel like jungle justice is driven by emotion or just the lack of, the justice system doing their job?
It's a mix and blend of the two. It's an anger that seems endemic right now in society by virtue of lack of equal access to justice. The high emotion, where a federation of the angry, that's the way I like to describe
Federation of the angry.
And just about everybody, goes around not knowing why they're hurt, why they feel so terribly let down by a failing system. And sadly, when the system is broken, the people may have to create their own. And that's what we're bound to see right now.
Actually, so now my own take is, with the way jungle justice is going, do you feel we as a society, we've created a system whereby it can be weaponized? For example, there are cases whereby people are being accused of things they did not do, and then jungle justice is being carried out. So do you feel we as a society have created a system whereby jungle justice can be weaponized and it can be used by bad individuals?
Well, it stems from the dehumanization of suspects. Because by law and in the eye of justice, a suspect is innocent until proven guilty, especially in our context here in Nigeria. Otherwise, if you were to reverse this, in the French legal system, it will be that you're always guilty until you're proven innocent. But ours says you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Now, the attempt to take the law into your hands in itself doesn't provide or produce justice. And jungle justice or mob action, lynching, whatever it is that we would now like to call it, is in itself the absurdest of things to engage in. Because if I ask you right now, or even a viewer probably, to tell us where jungle justice has produced actual justice, we've never seen that example in our context. It's just about a pool of crowds going, round, doing the unthinkable and inconceivable with the belief that their anger produces a righteousness that is far from even that of the state.
Yeah. So from your view, do you feel like with the rapid growth of jungle justice, is it because there's lack of consequence for both parties? Because most times you just see cases like this just grow cold. the mobs that committed these horrendous crimes, they're not held accountable. There's no consequence or penalty even given, or it just rapidly grow because even the justice system doesn't serve criminals the due penalty they deserve. So do you feel like this contributes to the rapid growth of
Very
jungle
true, very
justice?
true. The wheels of justice sometimes are too slow to grind, and that's what produces the action, or actions by mob or mobs, as we see. Now, it is true that cases can sometimes linger from between 2, 3, 5, and even 10 years, if you like, in our context. And people feel frustrated and they need instant gratification. So, this in itself is something that has to be a work in progress. For our system to be modified, the justice system has to be reformed. Agreed? There is the Administration of Criminal Justice Act and stuff. But still, these things are oftentimes too slow. What can the Nigerian society do to fasten, the track of justice and so help people to get the justice that they so yearn for? I think this is one aspect that, legally speaking, we need to look at critically. However, is there a justification for mob action? Absolutely not. You never can stand anywhere to justify that and make sense, even if you were to spend the entirety of the next decade. So, by and large, it is something that has to be condemned. And the glorification of this by social media, when these things are done and the videos, trend on social media and people aren't held accountable, it further reinstates rather the system that we have now seen to come to get accustomed to, even if right-thinking individuals agree collectively that it doesn't yield any result.
Thank you for that answer. Let's talk about this lady. I don't want to mispronounce her name, Maraban, something, an Islamic teacher that was dragged out of police custody. So and was burnt. She was burnt alive for false accusation of kidnapping a child. So my own question is, how did we get to the point as a society where police custodies or security personnel cannot even be trusted, because the safest place a suspect can be is in the police custody. But then how did we get to the point whereby even a suspect is not saved? Because if a mob can go into the police station and drag out somebody and commit such horrendous crime, how did we get to the point whereby even the police station or security personnel are not even trusted?
Well, I think that it's not a bit safe to say the police aren't trusted.
Okay.
But that's in my view anyway. The fact is, there's the inadequate manpower, the lack of adequate manpower to say, by even the police. It is a known fact, it is well documented. And so when a group of individuals go in there and overpower the police, there's little or nothing they can be able to do in that respect. And that in itself is a huge problem. Now, it takes me to one component that has dominated public debates and conversations, and that's the issue of state police right now.
Okay.
If that were to come alive, it means that we would have an injection into the system to support the federal police, to even help in terms of keep safe suspects before they are prosecuted in the eye of the law. Now, the response times, more often than not, when the crowd shouts thief, for example, means that it takes 20 to 25 or even 30 minutes before the police arrives at the scene, by which time the mob would have done its worst, and that doesn't help us at all. So if we were to have that sort of state policing apparatus, it means that the suspect is going to be guaranteed safety, and the crowd would lack the ability to take the laws into their own hands. And that way, I think we would have a better solution to the problem.
Because my own take is, I've seen cases whereby a policeman was saying that you have to pay money for an arrest to happen. Why is that normal? Or do you feel because even us as a society, we don't even take our security people seriously? You see a policeman doing his job and he's getting harassed. So it's like we've also put them in a position whereby they are not taking their work seriously. I don't know how to say
this is true. This is true indeed. It happens that they request for logistics and stuff, just to be able to power their vehicles to a known location. But in a situation like you have, what has happened, the example you gave, and the many examples that abound, if those emergency responses were to be put in place, I think it will go a long way, to be able to curtail or stem the tide of such reprehensible behaviors in the part of mobs. And when you know that it is an attempt to save life urgently rather than an arrest, you're comparing apples and oranges perhaps.
True.
And so that's a different situation that could be solved. If we were to have state police, it will be closer
It's a bit
and
closer. True.
response time would be improved.
Okay. I want to talk about this case of Ibrahim IB, a very, very, very heartbreaking story that has been trending everywhere. And this person was tortured, battered. In fact, the most inhuman things was done to this guy to the point of his death. Then it just makes me question, like, what does it tell about a nation whereby something like phone, laptop is now more valuable than somebody like, we've seen story of a teenage boy that was burnt alive because of something as simple as Gary. So what does it say about a nation itself, or we as Nigerians? Let me just even say Nigeria, that okay, we've gotten to the point that things, little things like this is more valuable than people's
It
lives.
is the loss of humanity. We've lost our humanity. And sometimes this attempts to frame individuals repeatedly, goes in the heads of people and makes them think that, oh, if this person is accused on multiple fronts or multiple charges, even if it's not substantiated, then they must be very guilty. And that leads them to take the laws into their own hands. And that often leaves us with the results that we now see. However, the first thing is to educate individuals, is to educate Nigerians, ourselves as people, about the need to uphold the sanctity of human life. According to to section 33 of our constitution, every one of us, black, fair in complexion, wherever it is guaranteed the right to life, fair hearing. These two are very basic. And so, if we let people know that you have no right and you would have lost the right to your freedom had you engaged in jungle justice, then I think that it will also serve the interest of all of us.
All right. Um, I was telling my friend, we're having this conversation. I'm like, Loki, you don't even know that subconsciously or consciously, you might be a contributor to jungle justice. Like you see you as a passerby, you see somebody getting beaten up to the point of no recognition, or something as little as you commenting on a post of somebody going through that, like, oh, 99 days for the thief, 1 day for the owner. And my take is, how do you think consciously or subconsciously we've started contributing to jungle justice? Like, how do we as a society subconsciously or consciously contribute to jungle justice, even if we're not the person, or if we're not the mob even committing the main act?
Very true. Very true. It is society that has so elevated this culture. You know, people are born, all they know is, look, the justice system is not right. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. And like you mentioned, the word subconscious comes to bear. It means that people grow with the knowledge that, look, once someone is framed for an accusation, whether or not they've committed that, the next thing to do is, look, ignite the anger
Yeah,
and
like we've
rage in people.
normalized it or something.
Next thing is supply a pool of tires, get
Yeah,
them involved, and just light up a candle or light up whatever it is, and make sure that they exist no more. And that's a very terrible thing to do.
very, very
And
terrible.
what begs for answer is whether or not, despite the anger and rage that has been generated by jungle justice, we have seen a brigade or a vanguard against jungle justice in societies. What are the local vigilantes doing? What are the local youth leaderships doing to ensure that these things don't repeat themselves? It's community A today, community B tomorrow, community C might answer tomorrow again or next. And this just tells you how aloof we're falling and how very nonchalant we are about even taking action rather than just angrily speaking about the subject.
Thank you. I really like the direction of that answer, because some people will be like, ah, no be me kill him now. The whole Ibrahim thing, no be me kill him. But you were there recording. Nothing was happening. There was this case of a thief that was caught in Rampam. I was scared to my bones. And this woman jumped in that she was going to take off her dress if they don't stop beating him. And just that little act saved that guy from being killed and stuff like that. So let me just quickly ask this question. Is jungle justice really about justice itself? Or is it driven from fear, poverty? Because I feel like Nigerians are so frustrated now. It's like they're looking for the scapegoats to be passive aggressive towards, or it's coming from the place whereby they feel like justice. I mean, ordinary people cannot even get justice because to get justice is expensive. To pursue a case, it is expensive. Lawyer, the stress, the emotional stress it comes with. Like, do you feel like that has also like led to this whole jungle
It is a
justice?
multifaceted problem, really. You are right that these things are sometimes expensive. But you see, when people insist that the right things have to be done, I think that results are bound to, be produced. And if we fold our hands and stay aloof, then we would end up losing the essence of what normal and civilized behavior should be like. Trust me, constitutionally, even the thief has the right to legal representation. So if that were to be the case, what becomes of you who seeks actual justice?
True.
So it means that if people were to be enlightened about the modalities and processes towards attaining justice, half the problem would be solved. And it is true that it looks expensive, but like I said earlier, it's not expensive in
And
the truth.
justice
If
can
you
be slow
activate that, yes,
sometimes.
it can be, and this is what we all have to agree on.
Can be really
But
slow.
it is not a yardstick to take the law into your hands. People just have to know that, look, you can activate the right calls, the right buttons, and then get results at the end of the day. Just be a bit patient. Just understand that, look, like I asked you earlier, how many jungle justices have produced actual justice? You cannot answer that because at the end of the day, evidences, are muddled up. Evidences are destroyed. When you kill the prime suspect, who tells you that you have the pool of evidence to be able to present to the authorities at the end of the day?
True. 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 Very true. So my next question is, do you feel like jungle justice is like putting people in check? Like, for example, in the mind of a criminal or somebody that wants to commit a crime and he has seen all, or he or she has seen all of these crazy things that happen, do you feel like it's putting us in check or it's creating a decay to the society?
Crime will abound so long as humanity exists. There's been crime from the
Yes.
beginning of humanity, you know, spiritually, legally, whatever it is. I do not think that with or without jungle justice, crime will stop. Sadly, crimes, wars, accidents would continue. What do you love as an individual? Do you like to see humanity flourish? If that's the case, then abstain from jungle justice.
Stand from jungle justice. Did you hear that? So, um, what would be your inputs, or if you were to talk to somebody in power, how can we, give an advice on how to regulate or even stop the whole jungle justice itself? What's the easy?
Simply prosecute those who indulge in jungle justice. Ensure that they face the full wrath of the law themselves. Now, it's the same thing we're talking about. If you think that someone has committed an offense, do you now stop the committing of an offense by committing another offense? Are you helping? Logically, does that sound okay? Is it commonsensical? Does it even help? So I think that we do not need authorities necessarily to prevail with us or to prevail on us to ensure that things go the way they should. We have to tell ourselves that, look, common sense at the end of the day, at the end of it all, is the only way to go. Otherwise, we would keep creating a ripple that takes us to nowhere.
Okay. The last question to like finalize the whole episode. If I don't know how to put this that it will make sense. Do you feel like in the next 5 years, if there's like active, work or consequences to both accused and this mob committing this crime, do you feel like we'll be able to clear jungle justice, or do you feel like this is something that is here to stay?
Well, society is a work in progress. When you go to the United States and some other countries. The US, for example, you know that 911 is the code to dial when you're in distress.
True.
If you don't even, someone will do that on your
Immediately.
behalf.
True.
When we take society to that level, I understand at some point there was that conversation to have our emergency response numbers and stuff. Not quite sure I remember the codes even. But if we're able to build that system that works, trust me, you wouldn't have people in the remotest of villages or anywhere killing or taking the laws into their hands. When you know that you can simply activate a call and the police will be there to rescue the situation. So I think this is what we have to emphasize upon. Our emergency responses, like I said earlier, state police deploy technology, deploy high-tech surveillance to ensure that the rate of crime is reduced
True.
and even the rate of jungle justice is tempered at the end of the day.
Honestly, thank you so much
Real
for
pleasure
all of your
once again,
input
Kemi.
in this whole jungle justice thing, because it's becoming normalized. That's the word. So
Sadly,
thank you.
sadly,
Thank you so much
sadly.
for your input, for your insight on all of our questions. Thank you so much for
It's a
joining
pleasure.
us.
It's a
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you. And that's a wrap on today's episode. But then, dear Nigerians, say no to jungle justice. Don't forget to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Follow us on all socials at BOMOPWK on IG, TikTok, and on YouTube. Bye for now.